Our CBS News senior White House correspondent, Weijia Jiang, to talk a little bit more about this. So, Weijia, it seemed like the president wanted us to know that he takes very good care of his Corvette. It's in a locked garage, but that is also where some of these new documents were found.
Right, Anne-Marie and Vlad. And the president wants the American public to know, because he keeps saying this, that he takes classified materials, classified information really seriously. And that is why he says that his team, his lawyers, alerted the Department of Justice right away. It also begs the question of why those materials ended up in his garage in the first place. He seemed to indicate right there that they were, in fact, in his Corvette, which he says is locked in his locked garage, implying that, you know, it's a secure space. But when you're talking about classified material, there is no secure space unless it is here or on the grounds of the White House or turned into the National Archives. So he has a lot of explaining to do. Clearly, he was prepared to make this statement. He read from a paper statement. Some behind-the-scenes details, guys. The president's remarks were supposed to start around 10 o'clock. And then shortly after 10 o'clock, the White House counsel, you can see right here, released this statement to the public and the press. And during that time, the president's appearance continued to be delayed more and more. It was about 45 minutes late, and I believe that it's because he was prepping to deliver the statement that he did, because he knew the questions were coming. Now, he didn't answer any of the questions. He just read from this statement, but again, he reiterated that he takes this very seriously and that his team is working with the Justice Department, which, as you mentioned, Vlad, is having a press conference later this afternoon.
And Weijia, we also, obviously, the president, the main reason why he was there in front of the cameras this morning was to talk about the latest economic data that's come out. What else did the president have to say about that?
Well, you know, this was an opportunity for the president to emphasize all of his economic policies that have been put into place. You know, he's saying that this is great news for the economy, but again, urging people to be patient, because he said there is more work to do. He also indicated that he knows Republicans want to try to repeal some of those policies, that they want to cut Social Security and Medicare, as one example, and he promised to veto any bills that landed on his desk that tried to do just that. And so today, the president, had an opportunity to say that the policies in place are working, that the costs are coming down, especially with regard to gas, and he vowed to keep working to bring them down even more. But one thing that he doesn't really have control of, guys, is the debt ceiling. And that is what we are watching very closely, a potential showdown on Capitol Hill about the debt ceiling, because Republicans have made really, really clear that they do not want to, in their characterization of this, raise the debt level or let the administration max out their credit card. So that's going to be a real headache for President Biden, because this White House has already indicated that they do not plan to use executive action to do that. So that is definitely something we'll be watching closely.
And as we know, Weijia, Kevin McCarthy made a lot of concessions to get that speakership,
right.
And they were with some more right-leaning Republicans who do not like it when the government spends money, and they don't want to see the debt ceiling be raised.
That's right.
That's right. They want to see a lot of spending cuts on all those policies that cost billions and billions of dollars, that are legacy proposals and policies that the president put into place. So we are going to see a really, really ugly fight, I think, coming up over this.
I think so. Weijia Jiang at the White House. Thank you very much, Weijia.